With that said, and with that knowledge, how do you go about shopping for a new bat?
So kind of as we've already discussed, my biggest thing would be to tell people,
Just a really, approachable bat that isn't gonna be, overwhelming in any way. But it makes for a lot of sense for somebody that's trying to find a steal for the upcoming season.
I personally, if I'm going to look, like one of my first things is I'm always going to go the closeout route. You're not just getting a cheaper bat. There's oftentimes you'll be able to see the reviews. It's really well rated too.
Yep.
One of the other things, and this sounds funny. This is how you know we're not lying to you guys here. This sounds funny coming from a bat company that we have to sell bats, but think.
And welcome to the Batter Up Podcast, where we swing for the fences in every episode. I'm your host, Tyler, and today I'm throwing you a little bit of a curveball. I'm joined live in studio with fellow bat expert, Ben Loafman. Ben's going to help us break down the right way to shop for your next bat and also touch on some of those most underrated bats currently on the market. Without further ado, Ben, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Tyler. I'm excited to get after talking some bats today.
Yeah, this should be fun. We're going to do a little bit more of a thorough breakdown today as opposed to an interview style that you guys might be accustomed to with this podcast. So Ben, why don't you go ahead and tell us how you got started working at Just Bats and Just Gloves?
Yeah. So almost about 10 years ago now, I was actually doing a summer internship for Louisville Slugger. And I would just go around to like the random perfect game tournaments. I shouldn't say random, but like they were in Georgia. That was where I went to.
Yeah.
And I was at some of the big high school facilities playing and they were playing. And I just worked at a booth and just sold Louisville Slugger gear and things like that. And I was pretty hooked on working within the baseball sporting goods industry after that. And I found out that in my hometown of Kansas City, Missouri was Just Bats. Yep. And so I signed, I'm probably certain that a couple days after I got home from that internship, I signed up I applied for a job, and the rest is history. So I'm here still today.
So you came in with some knowledge. What did you first do when you started working here?
So when I started working here, I was a customer. I worked in the customer experience center.
Yep.
I was a bat expert for folks that called in that needed help buying bats, and I was also a glove expert for people that were calling in for our sister site, Just Gloves. So it was right on the front lines, helping moms and dads and even players calling in to buy bats for their sons and daughters and even themselves sometimes.
Look at that. We have a very similar story there.
Yeah.
I also started working in the customer experience center. And with that, I think you get a lot of knowledge that you don't even realize you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
You're having these one-on-one conversations with people that have real questions.
Mm-hmm.
We could sit here and think of like when we're creating emails or we're pushing out social campaigns, things that are, might be of question or might be of interest.
Mm-hmm.
But every call is its own unique experience. Every call is its own personal experience. I have a 9-year-old boy that's playing let's say baseball, that is a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
Help me find that bat. No, I don't want to spend that. Yes, I'm okay spending that. No, I don't like that brand. You know how it goes. It weeds itself out. But by doing that and doing that process over and over and over, you start to learn these bats really intimately.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't even necessarily need to look up the features because you know that offers that old Louisville Slugger Solo offers the lightest swing weight in USA the year it came out.
Yeah.
Like it was a big deal. So with that said, and with that knowledge, how do you go about shopping for a new bat?
So kind of as we've already discussed, my biggest thing would be to tell people, pick up the phone and call Just Bats if you need help buying a bat. I know for me personally, I'm an adult now. So, my first thing when I need customer service help from anything, I'm like, no one's going to pick up the phone.
Yeah.
But we will pick up the phone and they're very helpful. If you call after hours, they will give you a call back so that you can have that conversation that Tyler just detailed. The other thing that I would recommend doing, especially on the bat side, I feel like we get a lot of reviews from customers for their bats. take a look at the review. If there's a bat that you're thinking about, look at the reviews. A lot of times people will describe their situation for how they're like how they came to that situation. Dad's writing in, I'm trying to buy for my 12-year-old son. He's a little, like you said, he's a little smaller. You're like, that's my kid. So you can go ahead right away and you're like, boom, this is exactly what I need. There's a lot of that stuff that I would definitely tell people to look at.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. Another thing I'm trying to think here, I would probably recommend, people don't probably always know about this, but we do have a program called Bat Assurance.
Yeah.
And this is huge because with the way that bats are now, there's a lot of bats that are, they're a little spendy. And if you want a safety blanket, you can pay a little extra. It's $30, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You pay $30 on top of your, say you wanted a $350 bat, just pay $30 extra, use the bat for 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't like it, that's fine. You just send the bat back and you get your full refund that you paid for the bat back.
Yep.
So,
and we cover shipping both ways.
Yeah.
So you kind of make your money up there, but also if you do love your bat in this Bat Assurance plug, you actually get a credit towards a purchase within the next year.
Yeah.
So you can actually, and you can use that towards just gloves if you want to buy a glove or another bat purchase. It's one of the ways that we're trying to attack getting the right bat. Because that's the whole key. We want to make sure that the right bat is in your player's hands to have the most success, because baseball and softball is a game littered with failure. Like it's just natural with the way the sport is, especially on the offensive side of the game. So we're trying to make sure that you're having the most success, building the most confidence, having the most fun in our sport. So don't be afraid to try that. Don't be afraid to ask questions on that. And like Ben said, you get 30 days to use your bat, to swing a bat. It's kind of daunting to purchase a bat online, especially a couple $100 if you haven't swung a teammate's bat like it or anything of the such. So definitely recommend taking advantage of that. Now when it comes to looking for your next bat, or it comes to recommending a bat for somebody else, where do you tend to fall there? Are you more get the latest and greatest, or are you shop the deal?
From my background, I never really had a brand new bat ever. So it's always, for me, I'm going to think of the cheap route.
Okay.
And that's actually where Just Bats, we always have bats that are pretty well priced. So oftentimes it's going to be alloy material. Within the baseball landscape, it performs as well as anything. So I personally, if I'm going to look, like, one of my first things is I'm always going to go the closeout route. You're not just getting a cheaper bat. There's oftentimes you'll be able to see the reviews. It's really well rated too. One of the other things, and this sounds funny, this is how you know we're not lying to you guys here. This sounds funny coming from a bat company that we have to sell bats, but think about your situation that you have with your bats first. Do you need to buy a new bat? A lot of times people will call in and they're just wanting to buy a bat, and you don't always have to buy it. We'll be here when you need to buy that next bat. So if you're racking your head, you're like, well, we have this bat. My son did really well last year. Just go ahead. Like, that's fine with us. By all means, like, use that bat. Just Bats will be here the next time that you need to make a bat purchase. So that's kind of my sneaky one that people probably wouldn't think that you'd hear from us. And that's how you know we're not lying to you, because we just want you to enjoy baseball and have what you need. And if you don't need something, we'll tell you that. So
that response was like a nice warm blanket on like a cold winter night. You just it's nice and cozy, and you just kind of, you don't always have to buy a bat. You don't. Now, we love when you do. And we love when you come to us for them, but that is huge. And we each got a ton of different inquiries over the years of, like you said, my son's got these bats, but I'm not sure his teammates really doing well with this bat. A lot of times, to be blunt, the bat isn't necessarily holding them back. So just take a moment. You're not going to be late to any sort of party with these. So definitely make sure you're shopping those closeouts. We have some really awesome closeouts that I want to touch on here in just a moment. But before we do that, there was one other thing I wanted to talk about today. I did want to touch on wood bats.
Ooh.
Because wood bats, especially, I played through my high school years. You
Mhm.
played into college. Wood bats, they become really important
Yeah.
in what you do, and
Mhm.
and they become, a real money saver if
Yeah,
you do
absolutely.
it correctly. So, um, Ben, at what age do you think someone should start looking into? And when I'm saying this, I mean as like a practice bat,
Yeah.
looking into using a wood bat to supplement their metal bat in batting practice and in cages.
I think that you could use a wood bat could be used right from the beginning, but I would say where it's really gonna be a tool, I would say like 11, 12 years old.
Yeah.
Wood bats are cool because it's instant feedback.
Yeah,
If you don't hit the ball in the right spot, it hurts. So
you know it.
yeah. So it's like and most people know this with the metal bats, they're awesome. They're designed with great technology that if you get jammed, most of the time a lot of them it doesn't hurt.
Yep.
But when you have the wood bat, there's not any of that in there. So if you get rung up and you get it close to the hands or close to the end, it's either going to hurt your hands or the bat's going to break.
Yep.
So it's a good and you don't need to take the wood bat right into like live hitting situations. It can just be flip from the front, like someone in front of you with the screen in front of them, just tossing it to you, and you're going to learn those skills. You'll learn them even though it's not at like full speed or anything like that. What about you? What's your big thing with wood bats?
I think by the time you're in high school, you need to have another one in your bag.
Yeah.
I just think the way that they perform and the way that they provide so much more feedback, like you touched on,
Yeah.
really helps transitioning to BBCOR. I
Mhm.
like the idea of going earlier than that. I do think that wood bats are a little tougher to get consistent usage out of when you go to the drop 8 or the drop 10 size, because it's just a piece of wood.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah.
and to get it to be a drop 10, a drop 8, you're starting to shave a lot of wood off, and it gets tough. Not
It's
saying
good.
there aren't great options out there. And there's certainly ways to do that. But once you get to the high school level and you can have a drop 3 and you can make that investment, maybe start with an ash that's going to be a little softer at first, transition up to a birch or a maple that's a little stiffer. But for the most part, when I'm looking at a wood bat,
Mhm.
I always start, knowing who I am. If you could tell, I mean, I may on camera look like, a big, bad, hulking guy,
You're huge.
as you can see. But for the most part, I need a balanced bat, especially with wood, because they're naturally, look at them. They're naturally an inloaded bat. So I start with a 110 or a 271,
Mhm.
and I kind of go from there, because I need a balanced swing weight in order to get the most success. I just know that about myself. So be realistic in who you are.
Mhm.
We've sold Aaron Judge's wood bat on our website. That makes no sense for me to swing ever. I could hardly pick it up out of the box.
Yeah.
So be consistent in who you are. Be truthful in who you are when you shop
Yeah.
for a wood bat, and understand that, the pro model doesn't always work for everyone.
Mhm.
It's not necessarily going to work for most. So just find your balance point, find a material that's going to work for you. By the end, I had a maple bat in high school and it lasted the rest of my time.
Yeah.
I started with an ash bat. So that's where I'd come in. There's some great options out there. The Brett Bros,
Yes.
the 1-1 or the 110 Brett Bros model is, just as simple as it can get. It's so consistent. The reviews on that are out of this world. So, definitely recommend taking your time, having conversations. Wood can be daunting, but it doesn't have to be.
The one thing I would add too with wood bats, we discussed earlier, wood bats break.
Yeah.
You can buy the general term is like a composite wood bat.
Yep.
That's going to be built. It's going to be reinforced, whether that be on the inside of the bat or sometimes they have a coating on the outside that'll help actually make the bat more durable. So it'll still do the same thing. You'll get the feedback that you need to know if you're hitting it on the barrel, but there will technically be a little less risk. It may not break as easier. I'm not saying that composite bats don't ever break, because that does happen sometimes. But usually, if you're worried about that, the composite bat is going to be the better investment because it'll probably be a little bit more durable.
That is a great call. And speaking of great investments, we're going to roll right into our next category here.
There we go.
We are going to talk about the 5 most underrated bats in baseball. Now, there is no particular order here, but these were just the 5 that I've come up with that I think are, kind of the ones. This is where I would be starting in my shopping process.
Yeah.
But the first one that I want to touch on is a JustBats exclusive.
Okay.
It's the Combat B2 ATB.
Nice.
Now this bat, if you know Combat, you know this bat. It is a one-piece composite bat with a huge barrel. It's going to be super smooth on contact. It's got an awesome swing weight. For the barrel on it, you've seen them. They shouldn't swing that light.
Yeah.
They really shouldn't. And all of that combined with the fact that they're going for like $139 right now at JustBats is wild to me. So I definitely, that's one of the bats I start with, especially for someone that likes composite, likes controllable barrels.
And this one's a little unique. Earlier, I mentioned that alloys are always really well priced. This is actually, it's a composite bat. So correct? With
for a composite bat to be that price is
absolutely.
Insane. The second one, Ben, I want you to talk on this one. This is we've released the Cat X's from Marucci and everyone loves them.
Yeah.
The Cat X Fanta came out this year. But what we forget is that with a new release, everyone loved the previous model also.
Of course.
So I want you to talk a little bit about the Cat 9s and just older cats in general on our site.
Yeah. So the Cat, so they started with their Cat 5.
Yep.
I think I was in college when it came out. That was like 2000. I think the first spring season was 2012.
Yeah.
And it's just very simple. You got the single piece, all alloy. But the thing that they did with the Cats from the very beginning is they had the anti-vibration knob.
Yep.
And that is so huge it's crazy to have. So one piece alloy bats have traditionally been, those ring you up pretty hard if you don't get it right on the barrel, even for a metal bat. But they have that knob that has the vibration dampener, and it absolutely it's an extremely comfortable bat, even though its design might not traditionally be conducive to that type of feel. And then just some people, I feel like sometimes you would have some people say, I don't know how balanced they are, but for the most part, anybody can pick up a Cat and swing it. So
yeah,
I
think that's a great point there. I like to think of lineups.
Yeah.
And you've got your speed guy at the top and he's a contact kind of hitter. Then you got your power hitters. Then you fill out the rest of your lineup. But with Cats, anyone in the lineup can swing a Cat and it makes total sense. The other thing with the vibration dampener, I always said it was like dropping a sheet pan in the kitchen.
Okay.
Is like a one-piece alloy bat. And it just sits there and it's like, and it just rattles all the way down to your hands and it like gets to your bones. That dampener, really flattens that out and it makes it a much more comfortable and approachable for even younger and more novice hitters.
Yeah. Make life easy. Get a Cat.
Yeah. It's that simple. The third bat on the list is the True T2X. Now, True is a brand that is shifting away from baseball. And so we were able to get a lot of their product in closeout sales. So we have the True T2X. It's kind of hard to say.
Yeah, no, that's a mouthful.
But it's USSSA approved. These are $280 bats that are now starting at like $50.
Yeah.
And all of them have 4 to 5 star ratings on our website. They're going to be available in drop 10, drop 8, drop 5. Really solid feedback, really solid reviews. Just a really, approachable bat that isn't gonna be, overwhelming in any way. But it makes for a lot of sense for somebody that's trying to find a steal for the upcoming season.
The other thing that's kind of funny about True Bats nowadays, if you see one at your local league or tournament, you can almost be certain that they got it from JustBats.
It came from us. We have like all of True's inventory. So if you're looking for that bat, you're going to find it at JustBats, and you don't need to shop around for price because nobody's selling bats for $50 are $280 bats.
Nice. Do you care if I hop in on this fourth one?
Yeah, number 4, Ben's got it.
So number 4, we got the String King Metal and Metal 2s. So I have gotten the opportunity to swing with the String King. I really like it. It's for me. So I'm similar to Tyler. Tyler was describing himself earlier as you like a balanced bat. And so do I. And the String Kings, I felt for me, it was a little heavier towards the end, but I was surprised. Like when I got the bat when I was able to get good contact, the ball flew and sometimes when I had hit it, maybe it didn't feel that great, but then like after the ball landed, I was like, dude, how did the ball go that far? It was pretty cool. Like to see, it's like there's a lot of juice in the bat, even if you don't get it straight on the barrel. One piece all alloy again, but I would recommend String King super highly. They have a really cool story too. I believe they started as a lacrosse company.
They did.
And they kind of just shifted into the bat world to try it out. And it's been a huge success.
Yeah.
So it's a really neat little story that they have going as well.
And they don't exceed $200.
That's true.
I mean, if you're just looking for a bat that is a bat, now the graphics are just pure black.
Yeah, which I think is cool.
There's
I like
something
that.
super cool about it. Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, it stands out for sure. You know, it's a String King.
Yeah,
check those out. Those are cool bats.
Mm-hmm.
The last one, number 5, is the Easton B5 Pro, the BBCOR model. Now, it takes a little getting used to. It's a little bit heavier than you might think. And some of these other bats on the list, it's going to be a little stiff, a little bit heavier, a little slightly inloaded.
Mm-hmm.
However, it absolutely crushes the ball.
Yeah.
When you get that barrel through and you find a barrel on contact, the ball's going to soar.
Yeah.
So definitely recommend that for maybe an upperclassman in high school that's looking for a bat that isn't going to break the bank, because these are now over $200 off at JustBats. You're talking about, a BBCOR bat that used to retail around $350 is now in that $150 range.
Yeah.
Super underrated. I think it kind of got swept under the rug.
Yeah.
During the same era as like the Voodoos going crazy, the Voodoo ones, the Goods coming out, some of those others from D Marini, the Cat X's, kind of got forgotten there. But definitely check out the B5 Pro.
One thing I would add too, I'm a big story guy. I love the backstory. The B5s are super cool just because like during the 80s, that was the bat out there. And I just thought it was super cool that Easton was down to bring it back and give that the design of the bat right now is very similar to the one in the 80s. And just to give that design, the look of the bat, another run around was pretty cool.
Talking to Roman, who we've had on this podcast, they were like a cheat code.
Yeah.
I mean, the ball would fly out. There was no regulations.
Yeah.
It was just, that's when baseball games used to be like tennis matches.
Yeah.
And the ball would just soar. So, Ben, before we send you off, I do want to do a quick round of turn 2.
Love it.
I'll give you 2 answers. I need your choice between the 2. And for those of you following along at home, be sure to leave your answers in the comments. We'd love to hear what you have to say on these different topics. There's some that are fun. Some are, rooted in history, but here we go.
Let's do it.
All right, Ben, walk-off hit or rob a home run?
Ooh, I'm going to go with rob a home run. Yeah, definitely there.
Wrigley or Fenway?
So I'm going to have to go with Wrigley. I've sat in the seats across the street.
Yeah.
Awesome. Like on the rooftop, I've sat there, and I've also sat in the stadium, and they were like pretty matched experiences. Like they were both like in their separate ways, extremely cool. I'm going to have to go with Wrigley Field.
Okay. So. I went to Wrigley in the off season and they were cleaning out the ivy.
Okay.
And there were baseballs that had been in there, potentially for the whole summer.
Nice.
And I was just like staring, doing my baseball nerd stuff. And the guy like runs over and gives me these 2 balls. And he's like, here you go. Do you want these? And I like looked at him, and at first I was stoked.
Yeah.
I was like, sweet. I got these ivy balls. And then I put them in my bag to take them home.
Yeah.
And they smelled so bad. I ultimately just threw them away.
Oh, you didn't save them.
No, there was no saving these.
Oh, man.
These balls had already been gone. Okay. Play in 30-degree weather or 110-degree weather?
I extremely dislike the heat. And I enjoy cold weather. So when I played in college, I loved a sunny 45-degree day. That's my prime baseball playing weather.
You must have hit a lot of sweet spots, because getting rung up on those days is the worst. Hot dog or pretzel?
Hot dog for sure, with just mustard.
Just mustard.
Mm-hmm.
That could be our next website.
There you go. Just mustard. Nice.
Mark McGwire or Sammy Sosa?
I was a Mark McGwire fan.
Okay. Seeds or gum?
Bubblegum.
Steal home or hit for the cycle?
All right. I'm going to go with steal home, and then I have an explainer. I get so mad when people talk about hitting for the cycle, because that's a fantastic day. But if they would have hit 2 doubles, a triple, and a home run, that's better. If they would have hit 2 triples, a double, and a home run, that's better. It drives me nuts when people go, yep, this is a longer topic.
What about that last at bat? I mean, there's an element to the cycle where you need one thing and you do it.
I guess you're right. Yeah, it is. It's fun. I'm going to stick to my guns though. I'm definitely steal home.
Okay, last one. Shop at JustBats or shop anywhere else?
Shop at JustBats, baby.
You are the man, Ben. Thanks for joining us again today. If you all are interested in hearing more of Ben and all of the stories he has to provide, be sure to check him out on the Beyond the Glove podcast presented by Just Gloves. It's available on all podcast platforms, including Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. As always, thank you all for stopping by today. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Batter Up. If you did, be sure to hit like and subscribe for alerts on upcoming episodes. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks, Tyler.
Peace.